Wow, what a great crowd. I am David Matthews, Managing Director of RevTech. We're a leading market acceleration program for the leading retail technologists in the world. And you might ask, what's the proof of that? And I have some proof in the room, I think. So will alums from the RevTech program from the last few years please stand up and be recognized? We got a few here. I see Exclaim Mobile. I see P&P Loyalty. I see UR Compt over here. I see Everthread over here. I see Michael Brand in the back. Well, let me tell you about last year's acceleration program with RevTech. Our teams, all of them raised money, every one of them. To date, the average raise of these teams for the past year has been over $1.5 million per team on average. So they have all raised. More than half of the teams we accelerated last year will do more than $1 million revenue this year. So there's my proof. So anyway, thrilled to have you all here today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We've got action-packed content for the next 2.5 hours. So what is this, everybody? Does anybody recognize what this is? This is Amazon's new fulfillment center. If you've driven to DFW, it's impossible to miss it. It's over 1 million square feet. That's room for 200 football fields with room to spare. 1 million square feet, but not many cars in the lot. That car is my daughter's. So welcome to the world of automation. This is our theme today. How do we give retailers the tools to compete in the age of Amazon? And it's a real conundrum, because Amazon is valued like a venture capital investment, isn't it? It's valued at over 150 times earnings, while its retail competition is valued at 15 times earnings. Big, big difference. Just like venture capital, Amazon is valued based on revenue growth and based on future potential. Everybody else is valued on earnings per share and same-store sales. So Amazon gets $15 billion to spend on innovation and technology. All of the rest of retail, we're like MacGyver out there, and RevTech feels the same way. I mean, what's MacGyver do? You got 2 paper clips, a rubber band, and a firecracker, and you got to go make something happen. And so we know how you feel in retail, and I'm thrilled to say we've got a few retailers in the room today, and let's give a shout out to these retailers, all these MacGyvers in the room. Our job at RevTech is to find the solutions that can help today's retail adapt in the world of Amazon. This is a 20-year-long temporal distortion, and it keeps going on. Who knows how long it will continue? I want to point out our sponsors that make today's event and all of our events possible, especially the event sponsors that contributed toward today's event, the Location-Based Marketing Association, Texas A&M's Mays Business School ushered you in and handed your program and greeted you as you came in. Point B Capital, John Bjornson and team, thank you for helping sponsor this year's event. And P&P Loyalty, you just saw a RevTech alum, and they are sponsoring the booze today. Do they know how to win friends? Thank you. And our program sponsors, I want to point out, all of them make our whole series of events we do through the year possible. But today I want to really shout out the team at Vela Wood. Vela Wood helps RevTech, and they also help a number of our investments with all the legal support to get deals done. I want to thank Vela Wood because they just helped us. We're just closing on what's going to be RevTech's largest fund in its history, the RevTech Follow-On Fund. So thank you, Vela Wood, but we have now raised enough commitments to launch and start this fund, which is bigger than all of our previous funds put together. So we'll be able to do some good with this. It's a follow-on fund so that companies that have gone through our accelerator, we can help bridge with follow-on capital to help continue accelerating their growth. With that, I want to talk about mentors, and you're going to hear from a couple now, our keynote, and then we have a case study for you. But this is a mentor-driven accelerator program. The engine is our mentors. The capital is just the fuel in the tank. So I want to introduce Mr. Jeff Donaldson. Longtime GameStop CIO, launched the innovation lab there, and now he's built his own retail innovation business called Intriosity. So Jeff, I want to welcome you up to the stage, and let's hear what you have to tell us. He's going to set the stage for the whole discussion today.
Dig the music. It was a good choice there. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about retail transformation imperatives, and I want to start out by talking a bit about recent news. And the news recently has been rather dreary. Can we all agree with that? Business Insider had an article recently, and they called this the retail apocalypse. So apparently the apocalypse is on top of us now. They took all the press releases that retailers have done recently. They added up all the store closings. It came out to 3,500 store closings, which I think that's pretty amazing. 3,500 stores will be closing within the next couple of months. So this is news that is relatively recent. Let's look 3 months to 12 months back. And what I did is I pulled these numbers on April 3rd. This is the retail sector by subsegment. And what you can see here, number one, is there's a lot of red here. And what you can see here is that stock prices in the retail sector have negative momentum. So led by department stores, led by apparel, led by specialty retail, grocery, automotive. You can see that there's quite a number of stocks where the price is moving in a negative direction. You also see a bifurcation here, so you know, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody in the room, but what you see here as well is that the online world is doing pretty well from a stock price perspective. So Wall Street has more confidence in e-tail, if you will, in online or digital commerce than it does in brick and mortar retail. That's what's happening in the last 3 months to 12 months. But let's go back further than that. This is a really interesting chart. Sorry to start you off here with all these charts, but this one's really interesting. I recently became interested in momentum investing, and I don't know a lot about it yet. Don't come up and ask me about momentum investing afterwards. I'm the last person in the room to talk to about that. However, it's really interesting stuff. And this is a relative strength index. And relative strength index, it was invented in 1978. It's a calculation of the speed and amount of change in the stock prices of a sector against the overall movement in the market. Does that make sense? So relative to the overall market, how is a sector of stock prices moving? And this is the retail sector. And what's so interesting about this is if you look here, if you look here about August of 2015, you can see the point at the top here. We started toward negative momentum. We started kind of on a downward spiral there. Hopefully not a death spiral, but a downward spiral certainly. And what's really interesting to me is this is a chart that goes all the way back to 2006. So we're seeing the impact from August 2015, we're seeing that impact. We're able to compare it to what happened during the financial crisis. And retail stocks took a dip there because consumer discretionary spending, obviously, thinking was that was going to dissipate, that was going to go down a bit. So the retail sector moved against the overall market in a negative direction more so than other sectors. What's interesting about this thing is what you're seeing here is that the slope of the line since August 2015 is pretty dang close to the slope during the financial crisis, which that surprised me a bit. It's not exactly the same, it's not quite as bad, but it's a lot closer than what is comfortable. So you take all this news together, and my thought was I need this slide. So I threw this slide in there because it's kind of the way I feel about it. And as we all know, WTF means, what's the future? What actions can be taken to restore confidence and long-term viability of traditionally brick and mortar retail? So let's talk about that. And the first thing to talk about is that retail is a good business. Retail is a fantastic business. It's not going away. We saw holiday sales last year were up 4% or so. NRF, I think, published 4.1%. Online holiday sales were up double digits. I think it was 10% or so. Last year overall, sales were up. The projection for 2017 could be as much as this is NRF numbers here, could be as much as 4.2% higher than last year. Online is going to be perhaps in the double digits again. And this is good news. Retail is growing. So what's happening isn't that retail is shrinking in some manner. Oh, by the way, these numbers are higher than the US GDP, right? And probably, I don't know what that is, but probably what it is we're probably taking some of the spending away from the energy sector. You know, gas prices are lower, I got more money in my pocket, I go buy in retail. I don't know what it is, but that's what I would guess. But really what's happening is the share of that retail business for brick and mortar is shrinking. So in January of 2015 at NRF, I just recall vividly that we were all walking around NRF saying, 98% of retail sales go through brick and mortar stores. And this was a very comforting thing we were doing. Don't worry about the future, right? 98% of sales go through brick and mortar stores. That same thing happened this year, except now it's 90%. And the projection for brick and mortar percentage of those the retail sales through brick and mortar in 2 years is 82%. So this is not something that should be comforting. This is less business that's occurring through brick and mortar. So probably not a surprise to everybody, but what we have to do in the retail industry and what retailers have to do is you've got to have a goal. You have to have not a goal, but you have to have a forecast. Just how low a percentage will brick and mortar sales be from that overall number? So this is something that is putting pressure on earnings. We had earnings announcements here in the recent days, and so we had some disappointing earnings announcemements. I chose to put this graph up to illustrate pressure on earnings. The reason for that is, one, fiscal 2017 is not available yet, or I'm sorry, fiscal Q1 2017 isn't available yet. But two is, I think spending strategy for the year tends to be based upon the hole that's dug, if you will, on earnings in Q1. Last year, Q1 was not a good time for earnings. I think it's reasonable to expect the same will occur this year. And so that pressure on earnings is putting pressure on traditionally brick and mortar retailers. So there's part one to this question of what do we have to do to return retail to long-term viability, to return confidence to Wall Street. And number one is we just have to say it out loud. Retail's undergoing fundamental change, and cost structures that are built around brick and mortar retail just aren't going to cut it, right? That's number one. We have to invest in cost efficiency. And when I say cost efficiency, I mean cost efficiency, not cost cutting. Cost cutting doesn't get you there. We have to invest in cost efficiency. And that's part one to this question of what action is required. Part two is retail is also undergoing fundamental change when it comes to the capabilities of our traditionally brick and mortar retail companies. The capabilities of those companies also aren't adapting fast enough to new consumer expectations. So at the same time, we have to invest in innovation, we have to invest in new capabilities, and you're going to hear from companies, RevTech companies here this afternoon about some of those new capabilities. But this is the fundamental conclusion, this is the fundamental statement that has to be made, is we have to invest in cost efficiency at the same time that we're investing in innovation and new capabilities. There's a lot of data on this slide, so I'll apologize for that right now. But there's a big difference between cost cutting and cost efficiency. We're seeing a lot of cost cutting occurring in retail. Cost cutting means that I'm cutting back on costs and I'm cutting back on capabilities, services, and innovation. Along with that, it's just natural that I'm going to get a commensurate drop in capabilities when I cut cost. Cost efficiency is looking for ways to improve the productivity of my spend. We need cost efficiency, not cost cutting. We need lower unit cost, not cost cutting. Let's Instead of departmental cutbacks, we need to evolve those departments. Instead of eliminating openings, we need new talent in these companies. Instead of reduction in force, we need force multipliers. We need to do more, not less. Instead of outsourcing to get 15 to 20% cost reductions, we need higher returns than that. We just need higher returns than that. Instead of looking at innovation and saying what's affordable, we need to look at our the unmet needs of our customers, and we need to invest to meet those needs. So I was the CIO of GameStop for a lot of years. Then I would produce a budget, right? I haven't produced a budget for GameStop in a couple of years now. However, if I were producing a budget, this would be the categories that I would focus on, and only these categories. I would focus on, in the technology budget in particular, I would focus on cost efficiency, I would focus on experience elevation. I would have those two categories, and then any investment in change management would be associated with my experience elevation category of investments, not with cost cutting. How many times do you see where cost cutting occurs and the organizational change initiatives are based upon what's occurring from a cost cutting perspective? That's not a good idea. Organizational change needs to occur based upon experience elevation for the customer, and I'll explain that a little bit more here in a second. Any investment that delivers on cost efficiency and experience elevation ought to be the priority for all retailers. And there's a new set of transformational skills that are needed in our retail companies. And those skills are automation, capability to automate, artificial intelligence and analytics. Those skills are based upon these categories of technology advancement. If there's one thing that you take away from what I have to say here today, it's this statement. Software is the force multiplier of the past. Automation, AI, and analytics is the force multiplier of the future. If you don't hear anything else I say, please walk away with that. Think about, in the last 30 years, all of the things that we developed with software. Point-of-sale systems, warehouse management systems, general ledgers for retail that are integrated with the overall ERP system. There's so many examples of what we did to put in place fundamental retail operational systems. The tools that we'll use, the solution space, the expertise, the transformational skills that we'll use to create those new capabilities in the future are based upon these three things: automation, AI, and analytics. And it's no longer good enough to use business requirements, business analysis, and these older tools to identify how we're going to take that how to take these new skills and apply them to new solutions for retail. That's no longer really going to work. And my proposition to you is that what will work is design thinking and design research. If you take a look at retailers that are into design thinking, first of all, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about when I say design thinking, if you've run across that. Go out there and research a little bit. There's no way I could do it justice here on the stage today, but it is a much more interactive way of working with your customers, using empathy and using a number of things to identify their unmet needs and to identify and forecast their emerging unmet needs. So I like to say something controversial anytime I get up to speak, which drives my wife crazy. But that was a joke, just so you know. But the controversial thing is probably this: if you're a retail company and you're still focused on net promoter score and customer surveys and personas and I think customer journey mapping and things like that to identify unmet customer needs of customers, I don't think those things do it. Design thinking is a better method for doing it, and we need that skill in our retail companies in order to drive solutions for the future. Now, there's a lot of categories of automation, artificial intelligence, and analytics. I can't really stand up here today and go through all these different categories. However, at the end of the presentation, I'll give you my email address, and if you'd like for me to sit down with you in whatever setting and go through these categories and give you an opinion on which ones are most beneficial in a retail setting, what other companies are doing, the kind of use cases that we're running across. If you'd like to hear more about that, my email address is at the end, and just shoot me an email and I'm happy to set something up. Again, software is the force multiplier of the past. Automation, AI, analytics is the force multiplier of the future. McKinsey did a study on companies that have implemented robotic process automation, and they looked at 16 case studies. Of the 16 case studies, only one was in retail. And that one case study for robotic process automation was in a pure online retail setting. However, they looked at these use cases. The low end of ROI was 30%, so you're going to start getting money back within or after 3 years. The high end, the best case that they found among these use cases was 200%. So robotic process automation, which is a manner in which you automate a process in the back end of your company. Actually, it doesn't have to be the back end, it can be the front end. But it's using software and robotic automation platforms to fully automate a business process from end to end. And then if you integrate artificial intelligence with that business process, you can do so, and often it results in being able to do so and scale that process and do so in such a way where you're going to save money because the staff that you have, they don't have to run that process. That's a controversial topic, impact on jobs, things like that. I started a company to work on that problem because the way I see it, that's a significant problem. We need to do things in such a way where we don't end up, we should have at least a net neutral impact on jobs. So again, my email address is going to be at the end here. If you want to talk more about that, just let me know. But McKinsey did a study of these things. They saw between a 30% ROI, 200% ROI, which means obviously if you're getting a 200% ROI within 12 months, then you're starting to make money on that investment in the second year. The Institute for Robotic Process Automation and Artificial Intelligence, big name. Frank Casal is the founder of that consortium. It operates out of New York. Since it operates out of New York, it's mostly financial services. Frank has looked through all these use cases, talked to Frank about it, and he said, no problem telling everybody here today that the use cases that they follow through in financial services deliver from a 40 to a 60% cost reduction when they apply robotic process automation to those internal processes. That's the kind of cost efficiency that we need in retail. It's okay to be MacGyver, but I want as much money that I can reinvest in innovation and new capabilities as possible. So I think that's going to make me a better MacGyver. Just in the Dallas Morning News this past week, on Sunday, the CEO of Domino's is experimenting with order delivery, pizza delivery with robots. They're doing that in Germany and the Netherlands. And their logic for doing that is that what the CEO of Domino's says is that they just simply can't meet their growth needs unless they can't find enough pizza delivery drivers is what the quote is. So they're saying they need automation just to meet the growth needs of their company. So these are the high-level description of the kind of use cases, the kind of benefits that companies are seeing. In restaurant, the order process and the delivery process is being automated, and there's some pretty cool stuff going on. These logos here, these are the companies that are doing it. In the lower left corner, the image that you see there is a food delivery robot, and that is a DoorDash food delivery robot. I believe it also is the same robot that's doing pizza delivery in Germany and the Netherlands. The middle image there is Eatsa. Have you guys heard of Eatsa? Eatsa is a restaurant in San Francisco. There are no front of the store. There's no counter where you go in and order. You go into a kiosk, you get on your smartphone, you walk into the store, you order what you want, you pay with the smartphone or on the kiosk. I think you pay with your smartphone actually. You're assigned to a cubby. When your food's ready, you get notified. You walk to the cubby, you unlock it with your smartphone, you reach in, you get your food, you're all set. That's the order process. They're also automating the delivery of the food, but that takes a little bit longer. And I have seen a robot, by the way, that flips hamburgers. It's really cool to watch. But again, we're seeing a bit more from an automation perspective in the restaurant industry. And the reason that the restaurant industry is doing this is really the same as retail. It's earnings erosion. It's a different reason for earnings erosion. They're seeing earnings erosion over things like minimum wage, the threat of a higher minimum wage, which eats into their earnings quite a bit. Healthcare costs have risen as well. And so it's a different set of factors that's driving earnings erosion, but it's the same thing that they have to respond to. Dave went to Shop Talk, like he was talking about earlier, in Vegas. And he had this quote when he got back. I thought it was a perfect quote to pull up here. But he said, in the age of Amazon, two companies are clearly winning, Amazon and Walmart. They're investing in the future. They're creating next generation retail. And I just want to back Dave up on this with a couple of slides. Amazon has acquired, just most of these acquisitions here are within the last 18 months to 24 months. So Amazon gets it. They've been on top of this for a while. They've recently acquired artificial intelligence and automation companies. The big one up there is Kiva Systems. Kiva is a robotics company. Amazon acquired Kiva and then pointed them directly at their supply chain operation. And I believe, I'll make this statement, I'm pretty sure everyone would agree with it, but one of the most automated supply chains that exist in the retail industry, if not the most automated process, is at Amazon. And a lot of that was done by Kiva after their acquisition. The other thing I want to talk about to back Dave up is store number 8 at Walmart. This is an incubator that Walmart is launching in Silicon Valley. And they just announced the incubator on March 21st, so very recently. This quote here is directly from their press release. And their focus at store number 8 is robotics, machine learning, which can be, I think, can be under the category of analytics or artificial intelligence. We can debate that over beer later during the reception. But store number 8's been created by Walmart. It's focused on robotics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, and augmented reality shopping. So I just want to back Dave up on what he has to say. He's absolutely right. Amazon and Walmart are on top of this. They're doing the acquisitions required to get the skill sets within their companies to automate. They're investing. They're creating incubators, etc. If you want to hear more about automation, impact on retail, if you want to hear more use cases, if you want to hear about smart automation, if you want to hear more about artificial intelligence, if you want to break down those categories that get a little bit more detail about those categories I put up earlier, the IRPA AI, Institute for Robotic Process Automation and Artificial Intelligence, it's hard to say. IRPA AI is starting in April a special interest group just for the Dallas-Fort Worth market. The co-chairs of the special interest group is Sam Gross. He's the Chief Technology Officer of CompuCom. By the way, they're doing quite a lot in the IT automation area. And then I'm the co-chair of that special interest group as well. It's brand new. We're just starting up in April. If you're interested, shoot me an email, get you on the invite list, and we can get that cranked up. You can hear a lot more about automation and AI. There's no fee to be part of this. This is just a group getting together to explore the topic. If I have anything to do with it, there will be free beer and wine at every meeting because I think that's important. So shoot me an email for free beer and wine. And then finally, I wanted to say, not every retailer can set up their own store number 8 and incubate these technologies. We're extremely fortunate to have RevTech here in Dallas. RevTech is our store number 8. And the the companies that you're going to hear from this afternoon, while not all of them are automation and artificial intelligence companies, quite a number of them use that as their solution set, or use those skills to deliver new new solutions for retail. So we're quite lucky to have RevTech here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And again, I think RevTech can be our store number 8. So I appreciate you guys listening to me here this afternoon. If you have any questions, if there's any more information that you need, please shoot David an email. Got the email address right there, or shoot me an email. Thank you very much.
Well played, sir. I'll take that. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Donaldson has just set the stage for our discussion today, because you're going to hear 10 fast-paced, really interesting solutions for next-generation retail. Jeff, I'd like to say, is Exhibit A for the great caliber and quality of mentors we have at RevTech. We have over 100 mentors now. We're just so blessed. The caliber of these mentors is just off the charts. Mentors, like I mentioned earlier, RevTech with the seed capital provides some fuel in the tank to get the entrepreneur going, but the mentors are truly the engine. They invest anywhere from a few hours to dozens of hours of their time and expertise in helping refer deal flow, helping vet deal flow, and most of all, helping coach and accelerate the teams we bring on board. And to that end, I wanted to give you all, we've done this little grad program this week, our second annual Accelerator grad program, and you're going to get to hear from each of them in a few minutes. But I thought you'd be interesting to see some slides of our mentors in action the last few days. So take a look at this. That's our mentors in action. As you can see, we do have adult beverages as a lubricant at most of our activities. And I promise, if you can stick around and hang in here till 5:30, we'll have plenty of adult beverages and food for you guys. So now I want you to meet Exhibit B of examples of great RevTech mentorship. I want you to meet great RevTech mentor Jeff Smith to tell a case study about what he's done with Studio Movie Grill.
Thanks, David. I brought some notes to keep on track because David gave me exactly 10 minutes, okay? And it's already started. So Quantum IoT, the company that I founded, really transforms businesses into real time. In order to give you guys a little bit of why you need to, my son asked me, he says, why do they want to listen to you? And I said, oh, okay, I got to tell them first to get a little bit of credibility. So let me dive real quickly into the title of the talk is Extrapolating Retail. And I'm going to do a case study on Studio Movie Grill. So as you know, cloud and service-oriented architecture and ubiquitous networking and AI and cyber-physical systems, these are all systems that we've been talking about a lot. The fact is that they've been around for 35, 40 years, and I'm going to give you a little bit of historical perspective to make you realize why Marvin Minsky, the father of AI, a guy I had dinner with one time, said, hey, listen, the singularity is near, and if you haven't read the book, you really ought to. And so in 1974, I worked as a 14-year-old at a company called Call a Computer doing gaming and rewrote a program called Hunt the Wumpus. In 1982, I built a robotic arm that attached to a wheelchair in order to help wheelchair quadriplegics get in and out of doors. In 1983, I helped design some of the first cell phones. In 1987, I did hand-printed character recognition for the post office, saving them by increasing the recognition rate of hand-printed characters $1 billion a year just by increasing the recognition rate by 1%. In 1991, I won the first international flying robot competition with a team, and also did my dissertation on a robot that learns how to fly, both as a helicopter and an airplane, and learns how to fly in between being a helicopter and an airplane using neural networks. In 1993, I worked at the Superconducting Super Collider. I know what big data is. We did 40 petabytes of data in order to move. That's a bunch. In 1994, we built one of the first 5 shopping sites on the internet with one of my mentors, Dick Marcus and Ken Hughes, and it was a total flop. So, the challenge. With Studio Movie Grill, the challenge really is that they're basically a robot with 3,000 employees. So the trick is how do you optimize a company like that, and how do you use the technologies that I talked about before to take a dine-in theater experience like the Studio Movie Grill and truly take it into being a real-time enterprise. So if you think about the Studio Movie Grill, you walk in, you both do theater, so you have a point-of-sale terminal for theater. You have dining, so you have a point-of-sale terminal for dining. You have screens, and if you think about it, if it's a real-time enterprise, when more people that you thought were going to come, you need to dynamically be able to change. You need to be able to dynamically move and change your company in order to take advantage of the opportunity. Well, in a theater experience, that means you've got to take the movie and move it from one small theater to the next theater. Sounds like a simple problem, except for the fact that you also have to move the trailers. You also have to change the size of the screen. You also have to predict what the number of people are going to be in there so you can change the air conditioning so they're not too cold and not too hot. You have to automatically close the doors. You got to change the lighting. You got to do the Dolby system. If you think about it, all of the real-time systems in just a simple dine-in theater experience are very complex. And so what do you need to do? Well, one of the things you need to do first in order to transform your business into real time is truly take all of that information and take it up into some place where you can process it. It's either structured or unstructured data, and what you do is you build a data lake. So we built a data lake for Studio Movie Grill. We call ourselves the Corps of Engineers of Data Lakes and Streams because there's so many types of streams of information that are coming in. A lot of them are real-time streams from Internet of Things type things that are coming in. A lot of them are from the website. A lot of them for kiosks. A lot of them from information from the kitchen, information from the servers. Little button you press automatically escalates. There's all kinds of streams of information. How do you capture that? How do you ingest that? Well, you need to have a system in place for your company, or if you're an entrepreneur, you need to build systems for companies or build things that integrate with systems in the companies. Or if you're an investor, you need to think about how this is going to leave some folks as part of the steamroller and some folks as part of the pavement. Secondly, you have to have some sort of a NOC or a DevOps system. This is a network operations in real time because, frankly, you're now a 7 by 24-hour business. So how are you going to respond to changes in all kinds of things you don't have any control over, like the weather, or like your network goes down, or like you have a cyber attack? Or think of all those things. Well, you need to be a part of a system that allows people to monitor those sorts of things. Secondly, you have to have all kinds of analytics and management so that you can have a person in the loop or automate it. The 3 steps are manual, automate, and then make it autonomic. Once you have your system, I don't think about my heart beating right now. Well, maybe I do. But you don't think about your heart beating. That's autonomic. You want your systems to be autonomic after they've converged into automatic. But first, make them manual. Think about from a sensing standpoint. Really, the things like getting audience reaction to find out, predict, to be able to know and respond to whether or not you need to increase the number of seats in the theater for the next showings. Things like facial and stress recognition, voice stress recognition when people call your customer helpline, things like footfall sensors, and there's laser-based MEMS technology that allows you to be able to know when people are walking by places. They cost like $2. They have a little wireless transmitter on them, and they can transmit back all kinds of interesting information. The same sensor can be used at the back of a retail outfit in order to know what the inventory is in a shelf for determining when shelf out and things like that. But in addition to those types of electronic sensors and mechanical things, there are electronic things like bots. And you're going to hear about a company today which will talk about bot technology. The fact is that crawlers and bots are going to enable you to not only interact with your customers and things like that, but you're also going to have bots that are going to go out and grab information from the web, and crawlers to be able to know what's going on from a competitive standpoint inside the social networking, or determine things like who's talking about what movies in order to predict what types of response is going to be for the movie on the following Friday night. And they're going to transform all kinds of parts of the business relative to prediction. So if you think about it from a AI and machine learning standpoint, you've got basically the responsibility to ingest. You've got to condition that information. You need to decorate that information with other pieces of information. And then you need to classify that information in order to make some type of a decision. From a sensing standpoint, you've got all kinds of capability to be able to do both physical and cyber type sensing. Sometimes, though, when you do the sensing, when we know, for instance, the seat you sat in last time, the seat you're sitting in this time, everything that you ate, all the people that you came in, because you purchased your stuff online. And we have sensors that, and some of these systems are implemented, some of these systems are in development, but we have infrared sensors to know when you're sitting in your seat. So we can tell the trailer people which ones you probably saw, right? We can change the trailers based on the demographics of the people in the audience. But frankly, sometimes this stuff crosses the creepy line. Okay? And so you have to be a little bit careful with your customers as you move into these types of technology. From an analytics standpoint, you've got all kinds of capabilities with machine learning and other things to be able to do automatic analytics. Analytics really is a batch program, though. Once you do that and you get BI programs and things like that to be able to do the business intelligence, like Alteryx that we implemented at Studio Movie Grill, you're getting a lot of data out of the data lake. You're manipulating it, and you're making decisions based on things like menu items and how much food you need to buy, because there's so much cost when you make too much or you make too little, and all of a sudden people are scrambling inside the kitchen. You have to do predictive modeling in order to do that. So the next step is really prediction. In prediction, you can use machine learning algorithms to be able to do things like be able to take a ton of data and then process it to create a model, and then test that model out to be able to see whether or not, what's the response of the system when a lot more people show up for a movie when you're not ready for it. So if you think about it, conventional programming is really, you have inputs into a program and you get outputs. In machine learning, what it really is you provide it with inputs and outputs, and that provides a program. And it's that program, which is a predictive model, that allows you to be able to respond more quickly and more efficiently and move up to the optimization. I call it Maslow's hierarchy of telemetry needs. At the bottom is just get me my data stupid. At the top is optimization. Most people in this audience, their businesses are probably down at the bottom. Need to think about strength augmentation, intelligence augmentation, sensory perception augmentation, and reality augmentation, like virtual reality augmentation. What's the future? Well, to go back to what I talked about before with robotics and all of the examples of what's happened over the last 30 years, here's some, but the problem is that be careful, because on the left is dim sum. And the problem that they didn't think about when they were delivering the dim sum was the fact that when it went into the kitchen, it grabbed grease. And when it took the grease, it drove it down to the aisles where the carpets were and totally grease-tracked the carpets. And so there's all kinds of things that you have to think about relative to implementation. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for showing us under the hood at what makes Studio Movie Grill have this growing global domination. And is Studio Movie Grill here today? If they are, hats off to you guys. So we did a poll of the universe recently and discovered we're not alone. It turns out we're not the only retail tech-focused accelerator in the world. And we also discovered that some of the others, like in Silicon Valley and New York and Minneapolis, are a lot bigger and have a lot more money, a lot more funding, and deeper pockets behind them. But being the MacGyvers we are, along with you all, we did not get nervous about that. We said, what kind of opportunity does this present? And the opportunity it presented was to do a one-week accelerator grad program where we could cherry pick the best technologists for retail around the world and lure them here to Dallas for a week so that you all could meet them and help connect them into Dallas. We're not necessarily trying to move them here, but we want them to make tons of friends and connections in Dallas so they come back often. And here's a little snapshot of how we've promoted the RevTech graduate program.
Accelerators are popping up everywhere. Backed by governments, universities, companies, and individuals, these programs bring seed capital and mentorship to promising startups. While some of these programs may be helpful, many don't provide the advanced support startups need to fuel their success. That's why RevTech takes it to the next level with its new Accelerator Graduate Program. This exciting new program invites the best startups throughout North America to engage in high-impact market acceleration sessions. Selected participants are flown to Dallas for a week of intensive market strategy workshops, networking events, and customer matchmaking meetings. Working with an amazing network of successful investors, entrepreneurs, and retail industry executives, participants gain new relationships and insights that help accelerate their business to the next level. Innovation themes from our first group of accelerator graduates in spring 2016 included customer loyalty, employee productivity, location-based marketing, and operational efficiency. Here's what participants from that group of rising stars had to say. I was highly impressed with the quality of connections, the impressive backgrounds of the presenters and attendees, and the depth of conversations and support that the team corralled into a jam-packed and incredibly well-run 3 days. RevTech allowed me to instantly connect with many businesses and verticals and create many relationships that would have otherwise taken months to foster. It was great to expedite the process. By sponsoring RevTech's Accelerator Graduate Program, you can help those entrepreneurs with the best ideas accelerate their path to market while demonstrating your company's leadership in retail tech innovation to the marketplace.
Nothing like great references to help you get great referrals. And in thanks to Michael Brand for that great shout out he gave, he actually referred 2 of this year's grad program participants. Stand up, Michael. Where are you? Michael, you all need to meet Michael if you haven't already. He gets the prize for being the fastest accelerating RevTech alum in our history. His revenue growth is through the roof. He's now raised the capital to support that growth, and he's just doing amazing things. So thanks, Michael. And thank you for the referrals for this year. You all are going to love them. So to kick this off, let's introduce first, we're going to have a panel because we're going to have a panel of industry experts sit up here and do the questioning of each of these teams to help flesh out the ideas they're presenting. So we wanted a panel with really deep retail experience. And to introduce the panel, I'm going to ask Jeff Donaldson to come back up and introduce and bring up your fellow 2 panelists. We got a mic on the table. So
Can we grab that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, we've got 2 really cool people to get up here on the panel, and the first is Scott Emmons. And Scott, whenever I think about retail innovation labs in Dallas-Fort Worth, I think of 2 labs. The one at GameStop, which is a really cool lab. Yeah, but the longer running lab is run by Scott at Neiman Marcus. You guys call it iLab, is that right? Yeah. Scott's been with Neiman Marcus for over a decade, and he's been driving innovation at Neiman Marcus for 3-4 years now. You're coming up on 5 years, so I'm a little off. And before that, he was the enterprise architect at Neiman Marcus. So he was driving innovation from that role even before that. And then the second gentleman I'd like to introduce, I've not seen him here today yet. Keith, you in the room? Where you at, Keith? There's Keith. So I'm going to make Keith blush, because when I think about chief information officers, when I think about CIOs, and when I think about CIO luminaries, there are two names that I think about. One is Charlie Feld. I'm not sure you guys are familiar with him, but he was a longtime Frito-Lay CIO, now with the Feld Institute, Southwest Airlines. And you know, the guy just has done amazing things for the CIO community and for companies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the only guy I know that comes close is this man right here, Keith Morrow. Keith is currently an executive with Alliance Data Systems. He was CIO of Epsilon, longtime CIO of 7-Eleven. And I think Keith was on the ground floor, maybe invented online insurance way back when. Man, I'm just looking at him to make sure I get this right. But he's a guy that knows brick and mortar retail. He knows e-commerce. He's just done it all, and is a cool guy to boot. So Keith Morrow, if you guys could welcome these guys on stage, I'd really appreciate it.
Great. Well, let's pull this table out a bit. I don't want you guys to fall off the back there. That would be very bad. So here's our format. We're going to do 3 pitches that are all themed around the store associate. Then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to do 5 more. The format of these is 5 minutes of presentation, and then our illustrious judges are going to vet the presentations with 3 minutes of Q&A. The first presentation up is actually going to be the first recipient of funding from RevTech's new follow-on fund I'm excited to announce today. So very good that we got that fund pulled together. Jonathan, my colleague Jonathan Fine is going to come up and introduce each of the presenters to you.
Thank you, David. And thank you to all of you. Your attendance today is a testament to the interest and demand for innovation in retail. Echoing what Jeff Donaldson touched on earlier, the headlines in retail might be dreary, but the opportunity is now. And I'm excited to present to y'all 9 companies who are doing that exactly, innovating retail. Like David said, the first 3 will be about optimizing, supplying, and empowering the workforce of the future. The first company that will be presenting is Arcade. They went through 500 startups and our accelerator program this summer. The CEO and co-founder, David Cherry, is from Down Under, from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm sure he's going to kill me for saying that, but please give him a warm welcome, and welcome Dave Cherry.
Am I on? Can you hear me? There you go. How you doing, guys? Thank you very much, Jonathan, for the warm welcome. And thank you, RevTech, for putting this all together. My name is David Cherry, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Arcade. And retailers are losing billions and billions of dollars a year because 70% of their workforce aren't motivated to do their job well. And I was one of those people. I used to be a retail sales guy, and I know exactly what the problem is, because when I first started, I experienced this. I was really productive, really proactive, and really enthusiastic and excited about my job, and my sales numbers showed that. And then over time, I became like this, and then about 6 months went by, and I was just mediocre. And nobody likes to be mediocre. So I decided to create a little bit of a game and try to engage the rest of the team, including myself. And through that, we became the highest selling store in the whole country within 3 months. And it's no surprise. If you think about it, If your workers are doing their job really, really well, it's going to result in more profits for your business. And that's exactly what we do. We're Arcade, and we help you increase the engagement of your salespeople as a retailer. And the way that we do that is a 4-pillar system. The first thing is to keep them engaged, and we do that by bringing in competition, instant recognition when they hit their goals and milestones, and rewards for the employees. We then connect the entire organization to build community and spread best practices. Then when they're engaged and excited to do well, we provide them with the resources to be successful. And so with all of that, we can then adopt machine learning and provide the management and the leaders in the organization with insights on how to optimize their teams. And I'm going to jump into exactly what we do and how we do that. So the first thing I'm going to touch on is engaging your employees. In live time, each employee in your store will see exactly how they're tracking towards their goals in the team, how they're contributing to the team and the organization. They'll be able to Managers will be able to create instant competitions, many game modes, create fun between stores and between employees. We also have lots of rewards within the platform and recognition, employee recognition, peer-to-peer recognition. We also partner with giftcards.com to provide the business with the ability to instantly reward and distribute incentives digitally to all of their staff in live time. The way that we connect your employees is we have a social feed that is built on providing your employees a social way to connect with each other. We also have instant messaging that is intelligent for a retailer, takes into account the hierarchy of your business, and allows your managers to instantly communicate to any of their sales teams and vice versa. We have specific tools that allows the managers to actually see when someone's read their messages, when they've actually communicated the message. And we also allow them to send and store files of any format to alleviate a lot of the time wasting in the back room on those clunky email servers. Then the way that we equip them is we provide your business with, and managers, the ability to create fun, engaging training content. Couple that with engaging quizzes to assess your employees. And then what you have as a business is the ability to have a look at exactly the areas that you can improve for each of your employees and improve your stores. And then, like I said, we optimize. So we couple all of that information and we can tell your business, hey, this is what your best salespeople are doing every single day. This is exactly the areas that you as a business need to improve in if you want to move the needle. And our customers are just as excited as I am. In fact, we've launched in less than 12 months, our customers, this is the company I actually work for as a casual employee. 12 months later, they've increased same-store sales nationally by 6.3%. Vodafone have seen almost an 8% uplift. And boy, we had a lot of room to move with Samsung. And I'm telling you, this is not a turnkey solution, but this is an opportunity for you to invest in the future. And it's really the sky's the limit on how you want to take that data and those insights. The way that we implement is we configure the software around your business specifically. Then we can connect into your sales system, your time management system, so that you can start to consolidate and understand what productivity really means for your business. And then we can launch straight from the App Store. Of course, we're completely scalable as well. This is all online. You have internet, you have Arcade. So, we reduce the costs and a lot of operational inefficiencies on the shop floor. We, of course, increase your sales. And when you make your employees happier, when you provide your leaders with insights on their employees and how they can better engage their employees, you also increase the retention of your best employees. So I thank you very much for today. I'm David from Arcade, and I'll open it up to the panel.
Okay. Okay, so I love this, right? And I like seeing the carrot approach, right, to associate engagement. So, I guess my question would be, we've invested a lot, at Neiman's on providing our associates with an app, right? To help them manage their daily lives with their customers and so forth. Is this something I can integrate into that, or is it a standalone platform? Is it web only, or how does that work?
Okay, cool. Great question. I'm back on. We have worked with companies that want to put Arcade into their single sign-on system, so we can absolutely integrate into that. Yes, it's all web-based, so it's not only available on mobile, but it's also available on desktop, so you can actually run it from the point-of-sale system as well if you have access to internet. We also service Microsoft phones and Internet Explorer 9 and 10, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
So you sound like the Mark Zuckerberg of Australia. Very good pitch. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
What's on the roadmap? What's coming next on the platform?
Boy, lots of interesting things. I guess what I'll say, am I still on? What I'll say is coming on the next 6 months specifically is providing managers with the ability to use Arcade as a review system, so that they can actually use Arcade to help coach their employees and bring that data into Arcade and to the management at the top. So then the management can actually understand, okay, this is how we better coach our employees and better develop them at the store level, based on, obviously the performance results thereafter.
Dave, I know you only have 15 seconds, but can you reflect just a little bit on how the employees in that retail environment respond to the app itself?
They love it. They love it so much that I get LinkedIn messages from employees that have since left their organization asking us, how's Arcade? That's awesome. And I know we've got a pretty tight deadline and Dave's about to ring the bell on me, so thank you.
Thank you, Dave. It's my pleasure to introduce Patrick Brandt, President and COO of ShiftSmart, coming to us from San Francisco. So please welcome him.
So welcome everybody. My name is Patrick Brandt. I'm actually not from San Francisco. The company is. I'm actually about 2 miles that way. So it was a great commute. David, thank you very much for having me, and really appreciate all that you've done for the Dallas community and venture. So with that, let me just tell you about ShiftSmart. So what ShiftSmart is an internet platform or a marketplace for shift workers, independent workers, to intelligently discover and manage their schedules across multiple employers. They do that by putting in preferences and figuring out what makes the best match based on their behaviors and their criteria, as well as their certifications. The benefit to these workers is they can work as many hours as they need at the best wage rates possible, thus earning more income. And for the employers, the benefit they have is a liquid workforce that they can get a larger labor pool and also flex up and flex down. And why is this the right time? Why are they doing this? And why do we think this is going to be successful? Well, today we've heard a lot about the gig economy, and we've heard a lot today about robots automating out all our jobs. We think that we are fundamentally exiting the Flintstonian era of the time clock, punch in, punch out, work for one person. And if anybody here employs millennials, you know that they don't want to work at one place at one time when you tell them they want to work. And that's the future workforce. Today, we already see 27% of all workers in the US are independent or contingent workers. That's estimated to go to by 2020, it's estimated to go to 60%. The reason this is happening is the rise of the on-demand economy as one of the key industry trends. And when we say the on-demand economy, it's not just because Uber has now allowed it such that it's easier for me to get picked up at the airport, or I can have a few more beers when I'm out and not worry about driving, but it's what it's done for the workforce, which is I can now bring my cell phone turn it on, decide when I want to work, where I want to work. That trend is going into traditional jobs as well. There are other obvious things like, overtime, benefits. There's this trend of reverse worker-led scheduling. And to just really put into perspective of how prolific this is, just look at these numbers for a second. So Uber has only been around since 2009, and it's already third in terms of the number of paychecks that it produces per year after only Walmart and McDonald's. And the problem today is there's no system out there that's set up to help these workers. And as ShiftSmart, as a worker-centric platform, that's what we're here to do. Today, limited reach, job postings, and there's an unpredictable work schedule. So what we do is, I'm sure there's a lot of people in here on Tinder. I never ask you to raise your hands. But what we do is we let you set up your preferences and the criteria, the hours that you want to work, and the underlying platform serves up the shifts that match with you. And over time, based on your acceptance rate, your adherence, it perfects the algorithm even more. And so to do that, our founder who couldn't be here, he came out of Google, and one of the things that he did was develop this algorithm for managing the Google Cloud. And essentially, by looking at the way that you take compute power and allocate the capacity based on need, is the same way that we think about the workforce. And many of the people today are working multiple jobs across multiple companies and want to work when they choose. And we think that by doing this, in this great engineering team we've assembled, that we can deliver that platform. I am here to be the old guy with the gray hair. I'm coloring it a little bit to just try to fit into crowds like this. But it's my first time to be that guy. I'm really excited about the team, but mostly I'm excited about the opportunity of what we can do for the workers of the future. We've got some great initial traction. We've already got 30,000 workers on the platform, 60,000 shifts worked. And of that, some of our customers are like Google and Ipsos, MarketStar. A lot of people these folks have hired in their past. I wanted to just quickly tell you before I close the two things that we've already done. Nationally, we're in 60 markets doing things like secret shopping, audit, market staffing, and training. And locally, we are rolling out to where you can do things like sourcing, your weekly schedule management, and last-minute fulfillment. We're launching in Dallas this May and it's coming up. And I want to thank you all very much for this opportunity. And Jonathan, thank you very much for setting this up.
Thanks.
By the way, I sold to two of these CIOs up here in the past, so this is very intimidating to be this close to them. Keith being one at Epsilon.
Thanks, Patrick. How are you going to drive adoption?
It's a good question. So fundamentally, it's a marketplace. And all marketplaces, on a spreadsheet work great at scale. And everybody always asks, which is harder, to get the shifts or to get the workers? The answer is it's whichever one you don't have the most at that time. So my example for you is in January, after the fourth quarter of retail hits, we suddenly had a lot more workers than we had shifts. So we had to scramble around to get shifts. And then now we have the opposite problem, and this is going to answer that particular question. We have the opposite problem where we have a lot more shifts than we have workers. So what we do in order to get more workers on the platform is a couple of things. One is we partner with staffing companies across the country to where we do a revenue share deal. To them, they've got a database that they'd like to monetize. And what we do is we can acquire workers at a much lower cost. It's essentially a variable or no cost because all we got to do is give them the money for that first shift that they work. There's the obvious things like the marketing through Facebook, Google, et cetera. And then the third, the one that's the most prolific, which is how Facebook and Uber launched, is when I refer a friend. So if I give Jeff a number for him to call, he's more likely to accept a shift. So it's not just a worker on the platform, it's a worker that actually accepts a shift and uses ShiftSmart to increase their income.
Patrick, is there any incentive for a major employer to put their workers on ShiftSmart?
It's a great question, and the answer is yes. And the number one reason is, so first off, the underlying technology allows you to more optimally manage your shift. A lot of people use workforce management software for that today. We certainly have a version of that. But when you put your workers on, you can put them on in a private pool. So those of you that, if you think about a dark pool from like a hedge fund, you can put them in a private pool. Or you could share the pool with another employer that's right next to you. So we have a case where we got 2 warehouses next to each other that are sharing the same pool. And then third is they get access to the larger supply pool.
Great, way to go, man.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Great job. All right, the next presenter I'm very excited to tell you about, Excel Robotics. I got to get a sneak peek down at South by, and I can't do it justice to let you know how excited people were to interact with theirs. Please welcome Martin Che, co-founder of Excel Robotics.
Hi, I'm Martin Chet with Excel Robotics, and we build robots that people love to use. You see the headlines. New technologies like AI, robotics, automation is the way of the future. But how can retailers actually use these technologies to build better experiences in their stores today? 100 years ago, when you walked into a store, the shopkeeper knew your name, and he was an expert on all the products in the store. The experience was personalized, and it was informational. Today, many shoppers are used to the online, self-guided experience, and that digital-first expectation is moving to in-store experiences, but not how you might think. Many shoppers prefer not to even engage with an associate until they need help, and at that point, associates are sometimes hard to find or unable to answer detailed product questions. And the reality is, keeping associates knowledgeable on the latest products is difficult. And with an average of 5% monthly turnover, it's expensive to recruit and bring new associates up to speed. And this translates to poor customer service that decreases sales and drives customers away. So how can we use the latest technologies to bring that expert-level service back to the retail sales floor? Say hello to Omnio, a new AI-enabled shopping assistant for retail. Omnio helps bring the best of online shopping to physical stores, and it's designed from the ground up to deliver smarter in-store service by engaging customers and empowering associates. The key technology we developed is a 360 visual intelligence system that enables Omnio to see and interact with people in a natural way. So not only can you capture great analytics this way, but Omnio can also interpret natural body language, including gestures. So if you have a question or need help, just raise your hand and Omnio approaches, ready to assist. Customer engagement. So Omnio is a product expert and is always up to date on the latest product information and features. And it helps associates with consistent and knowledgeable product support. So if you show an item, you can actually learn more about that product. And customers can do tactical things like request a size or check inventory or see what other products are available. But most importantly, shoppers today are really interested in the why behind brands. They want to know that brand story. So with a tap, you can instantly learn more about a particular product from the design director, learn more about how it's made, and learn the brand story. So we see this as a powerful tool for customers, but also for associates. So if a customer needs an associate, Omnio can actually snap a quick photo and send that over to the associate. And it lets them know this shopper needs help in this section with this product. So it's a really great tool. And Omnio works alongside associates as an assisted selling tool, helping them cross-sell and upsell different products in the store. You can also show associates all of the products that the shoppers have been looking at in the store using the analytics. So we think about that as cookies for the real world. So that's another great tool. And we've left room for Omnio to learn new skills over time. to adapt to the changing needs of retailers. So you can imagine adding a fast checkout payment module or shopping live with your friends and getting their take on the products that you're looking for in the store. So it's really all about engaging customers and providing that better in-store experience. Our model is robots as a service. So we offer Omnio as a service, so there's no large upfront investment. And we actually manage all of the updates and servicing, so it's really easy to get started. And when new versions of the robot become available, we replace the old versions. And we've been running Omnio in the real world, where we've logged thousands of customer interactions. And Omnio has been featured as a promotional traffic driving tool at pop-up shops and other brand experiences. And right now, we're working with retailers and brands to build the best possible in-store experience. Now, our team, we've got a talented team of PhDs in neuroscience and robotics, coupled with world-class designers and retail product innovators that's working hard to bring this solution to market. Our team has worked on everything from consumer robots and advanced artificial intelligence, all the way to award-winning store of the future concepts and other retail technologies. So this blend of digital and physical experiences is the fourth industrial revolution, and it's happening right now. So as experience-driven automation becomes the new norm, what if your company had its own robotics division? Excel Robotics is partnering with forward-looking brands and retailers to build the best possible in-store experience and unlock the full potential of our technology. So let's build amazing customer experiences together. Thank you.
Great pitch, thank you.
Thanks.
Help me out a little bit on to understand the business case for the retailer, because I'm thinking about, are you targeting specific formats, specific lines in retail? Because I think at 7-Eleven, I think well, you don't need a robot for beer and beef jerky, but I also think of the 30,000 store problem, in terms of affordability and how do I get an ROI. So if you could help us understand that.
Yeah, so the types of retailers we're targeting are those that require a different level of product explanation with their products. So think of a retailer that has a technical product that has a little more explanation required, and the sales associates need a little help to relay that information to the shoppers. So that's really the area that we're looking at, and we see it as an incremental cost in the short term, and then a long-term reducing sort of operation cost. Yeah.
I also thought it was a great pitch.
Thank you.
So let's think a second about, let's get past the wow factor, and we're at a state where this is common, right? When I come into the store, how do I, as a luxury retailer, right? How do I differentiate the experience? If I'm using the robot, then say from the 7-Eleven experience, or wherever else these things are deployed.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the key differentiator we really see is the approach, the technical approach that we've used to the visual intelligence system that we've developed, and it really creates a magical experience for the customers and really delights them. And we can also work with the retailer to really build out an incredible experience that reflects sort of the brand story for the individual retailer, so it can really be catered to the particular retailer's needs.
Couple of comments. One, you're a more handsome version of Elon Musk, so that's going to work well for you.
Thank you.
When you said robots as a service, I took that to mean that I lease the robot. I don't have to hit my capital budget as a retailer to get the robots in the stores. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's a monthly service.
And there's some sort of cloud-based capabilities that you connect, that robot connects perhaps to the internal network of the store in order to, yeah?
Absolutely.
And then the second thing is, can you, oh, we're out of time, but real quick, can you, are customers reluctant to walk up to this robot and interact with it? Can you give us a little background on
Customers love it.
I'm the guy that throws the softballs up,
yeah.
by the way.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great pitch.
All right. Those are 3 great pitches. So we're going to take a 10-minute quick networking break. We have a room full of innovators and those that are similarly minded. So please meet someone new. We will reconvene in 10 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage your host, David Matthews.
All right, everybody, we're attempting to run a tight ship here, so everybody please come back and find your seat. We have 6 more pitches that are going to blow you away. I want to hand it back to my colleague Jonathan, but first, I want to give Jonathan and my other colleague Christy Torres a big shout out. They've done a lot of work on this event. Give them a big hand, everybody. And with that, I'm going to pass it right back to Mr. Jonathan Fine.
Thanks, David. These next 6 companies leverage automation to create improved customer experiences, enhanced consumer insights for retailers, and automate automation. First up, I have the pleasure of introducing Joe Benyananto, CEO and President of Banter. Please welcome Joe.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us here down in Dallas. I'm from Palo Alto, California, and David was gracious enough to invite us to come out and tell you a little bit more about what we're up to. We're a startup about 9 months old, and our focus is on changing the way that customers interact with businesses. All of us interact with our friends and families over messaging every day, whether it's SMS or Facebook Messenger or Snapchat or WeChat or whatever it might be. And I don't know about you, but I had to ask myself the question, why is it that I can communicate with all my friends and family, but if I want to reach out to a business, there's no real way to do that today? That is what we're trying to do. If you look at the App Store and what's been going on in the retail industry around shopping, every major retailer and brand has built a mobile app for iOS or Android. If you look at the top 100 free shopping apps as of January, there were 6 that were shopping, and Amazon was obviously up there. The only other brand that any of us have ever heard of is Target, which is down at number 71. So only one traditional retailer. And you look at the money, millions and millions of dollars spent on developing these apps. Typically, on average, they have about 5% customer engagement. And so I looked at this and I said, well, that's really interesting, but what are you doing with the other 95% of your customers who you're not reaching through your mobile app that you're spending millions of dollars on? It's why companies like North Face and others have started to get rid of their native apps, focus on mobile web and messaging. So Twilio did a great survey. They're one of our partners, and they found that the number one way that consumers want to interact with businesses is over messaging. They don't want to call. They don't want to send an email. They don't even want to go to the store in many cases. They want to send a message on their own time, sitting on their sofa, maybe in a work meeting where they're bored, wherever they might be, and get an answer back in real time. So if you had this capability, if you could message businesses, what kinds of things could you do? Anybody ever been in a Home Depot or a Lowe's walking around looking, where's the duct tape and trying to find it? Nobody around to help you? Or maybe you drove to the store to pick up those Pampers Cruisers size 4, and you get there and the shelf is empty. Maybe you want to buy a new pair of black boots and you're sitting on your sofa, or you're even in the store. Wouldn't it be great if you can send a message because nobody's around to help you and have some assistance finding the exact right pair of black boots that you want? We could call. But nobody likes waiting on hold or navigating phone trees. You could drive to the store only to find out they closed early tonight. So we came up with a way to enable businesses to connect with their customers over any messaging channel, SMS, Facebook Messenger, native apps, mobile web, desktop web, whatever they want. It goes into our AI engine. We can respond back to about 80% of the inquiries that come in. The remaining 20% get sent to live agents. So what we're going to do now is I just have a quick video to show you how Banter works, and we'll walk through it really fast. So the first examples are very straightforward. Things like where is a store located, or what time do you close? So very simple stuff. Think of the FAQ on every website. So this is a real SMS. This is actually a recording of my phone. Is there a store near me? Uh-oh, it looks like it stopped. Can you keep the video going there? Uh-oh, she started it over again. Okay. We're running out of time. Let's see, there we go. So is there a store near me? And because we have access to the customer's data, we created this fictional retailer, Menkins, which is from the TV show Mad Men, if you've seen it. And I don't know why this is pausing, but maybe you could just fast forward a little bit past this point. This was working in the demo earlier. You got nothing? Maybe we should call an ad lib. What do you think? All right, well, that is really disappointing, but I'll try and get through it. So what you would see on here is it would come back with the 3 stores that are closest to where you are. First, it asks you where you are because SMS doesn't have location data. Here are 3 stores. You could pick one and say, oh, I want to know more about that one. Where is it located? You could ask, what time do they close tonight? And get an answer back. We also, if you can jump at, try and jump, oh, so you gave up completely? Okay. You could also do shopping examples like, I need to buy a black cocktail dress, and it would come back with a bunch of examples in a mobile web experience. You could, if you wanted to buy one of those dresses, you click on it, takes you right into the retailer's mobile web experience. I'm sorry for the video problems. So this is just a high-level architecture of what we're up to. Messaging comes in at the top. It goes into our engine. We combine the knowledge that we have from working with customers with their data around product availability, store locations, whatever it might be, and then we respond back to the customers. If at any point, as I said, we can't handle it, we can get up to about 80% with training, then it rolls over to a live agent in their call center. So that's it. If any of you want to talk about customer situations or investments, I'll certainly be around after the show today. Thank you. Don't ask me about the video. I don't have any answers about that.
What's up with the video? So for this platform, right? You know, you're concentrating on the SMS play. Do you see yourself going into other spaces with this beyond SMS in the future?
Oh, we support all of the above. So SMS, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, native web, mobile web, desktop. Is that what you're?
Yeah, and I'm sort of thinking about, okay, I still have customers that email me, right? And as I see this as a way to try to scale, kind of great service.
Exactly.
And kick it off to my my human team. Once we reach a level that's beyond the AI's capabilities, right?
We haven't had a customer yet ask us about email, and in fact, many of them are saying we want to replace our email system with messaging because they get millennials calling in and saying, "Where's my stuff?" They say, "Oh, we sent you an order notification via email." He's like, "Oh, I never got that. I don't check my email." And so they want it all over messaging. So far that hasn't come up. There's no reason we couldn't incorporate email if somebody wanted to do that.
Thank you.
Where does the knowledge base start? So what does the adoption look like for the retailer? Do they start very small with this?
Yeah, it starts with a pilot, and that's actually the phase we're in right now with our first 2 customers, and we get a bunch of data from them. So everything from their existing live chats or email interactions. We can even take voice transcripts and transcribe those into data that we can feed into the system. We need API access to things like real-time inventory if they want to support that, or store locations, store hours. We pull all that in, and then over time, we run machine learning on the conversations that we're having in order to get better at answering the questions. But it all starts with a big data dump. In some cases, batch mode, sort of like, here's a bunch of files, FTP. In other cases, they've already built APIs, and we can take advantage of that.
I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit with this question, but is there any data that I would think that once customers get used to using the Banter app, I'm going to ask more questions. I'm going to explore more, right? Is there any data that gives any indication of just how much more customers interact with that company afterwards?
Nothing that I've seen yet, although this does come up with almost every customer. And the reason why most of these retailers haven't supported SMS to date is they were afraid of how many messages they would get. It's like, we don't want to hear from our customers. We hear from them plenty on these other channels.
I got to spend money to answer them all, right?
Exactly. So now with the advances in AI, we can take that, incorporate the automation part. And so if we can handle 80% of the phone calls that they normally get and turn that into text message traffic that gets handled automatically, that's a huge cost savings for them.
And the huge ROI. The sooner you can get data on that, the better, I think.
It's coming soon. All right, thank you all.
Thanks, Joe. Next up, I'd like to introduce Gurdat Bobby, COO of Supply AI. They went through Alchemist and 500 Startups Accelerator programs. Coming from San Francisco, California, please give it up for Gurdat.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here in Dallas. This is my first time here, and I am absolutely loving it. Thank you so much. Today, I'm going to start with two numbers, 23 billion and 1.3 billion. Last year, online apparel e-commerce lost $23 billion in sales to returns and spent $1.3 billion just servicing those returns. I'm Gurdat Bobby and a co-founder of Supply AI, and our solution is simple. Use AI to reduce returns, recapture those revenues, and reduce operating costs. From that previous number that you just saw, reducing returns by just 2% would lift revenue by $460 million, reduce costs by approximately $35 to $38 million. So that's where we are. But why returns? It is a well-defined pain point for many retailers. There is no preventative solution on the market as of now, and it has a clear return on investment if anyone solves this problem. And so we got around to solving that. So we see that the return on investment is approximately 15 to 30 times your investment on a use case that we worked on. We believe that there is a returns moment of truth that comes after purchase and before shipping, and this is where our system works to detect the likelihood of return, offer preventative interventions to a customer, and act on it. The impact case for returns are many, and here are three of them around returns of incorrect size and fit products, overpurchase, and logistics and order fulfillment. Our app works across these different solutions, and there are many more, and I would be happy to discuss them with you. So I'll show you one example around the post-purchase trigger email, which is triggered by an online sales associate or a retail operations person, or it can be completely automated. There is a returns alert that comes up on the console that these retail associates might be using online, and they can trigger an email, but there are other options like calling or texting or messaging the shopper. Our serviceable market is about $1.6 billion. We're looking at these numbers for the apparel market in the US alone. but our addressable market is even larger with all of e-commerce in the US. And currently, while we are focused on online apparel retail, we could extend this very easily to other verticals as we build our models. Like any great idea, there is obviously competition. And we've seen a lot of competition come up in this space, but most of them are focused on managing returns, not preventing them. And that is where we believe we are very unique. Today, we are about preventing returns, but we have a roadmap marked out, and that involves a lot of more things. Tomorrow, we are looking at becoming a machine learning powered order-to-cash suite across all requirements, and much more down the line, a super intelligent backbone for commerce across, applying our learnings across retailers and brands in many different ways. My co-founder Karthik and I have a collective experience across e-commerce, supply chain, and data science, and we have the team to build this. To conclude, I would just like to leave you with 3 takeaways. Returns are a clear and present problem for retail, and this is a solution that we are building exactly for this problem. ReturnSense delivers exponential impact. The return on investment is very high, and this in just a few months of deployment. There are obviously network effects. We can transfer learnings across retailers and brands, and as we add more customers to our roster, this will only grow. And I would love to speak with you after this at the reception. If you think you have a returns problem, if we can solve it in any way, we would love to chat with you. Thank you very much.
Can you give the audience a little bit more clarity on how you avoid a apparel return?
Yes. So let's take a very simple case of buying a product online. Let's assume it's a dress that you have bought in a specific size. And typically, if you're buying a new product, you might buy it in multiple sizes, the same product. Based on your purchase history at that retailer, and based on our knowledge and mining of information across brands and sizes, we are able to pinpoint exactly the size that would be fitting you based on a lot of these features that we are able to extract. And that's just one solution that we have. Now, we could bring that up as an intervention in different ways, providing incentives to customers in terms of having a solution around providing a discount for choosing just the one size and not the others. And that's one way we can intervene.
So my question would be on a similar lines. I agree with you. This is a huge opportunity, for retailers, online especially. So it's a great opportunity for me, the retailer. How are you ensuring you're not introducing, kind of unwanted friction on the customer side, right? And I'm not actually driving, that customer away, right? With the mechanisms you're using to, sort of manage the way she orders, right?
Absolutely. So this is a question that we have received in the past. We believe that the customer will be happier to receive a product and not that is to their liking and something that they will not have to return or go through the hassle of returning. So there will be an overall improvement in the process, but we're still in a relatively early stage of development, and we are very happy to experiment with our early customers for reducing that friction. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to mention that as COO, he's behind the product, and this is his first pitch, so kudos to you. Next up, I have the pleasure of introducing Ofer Klein, CEO and co-founder of Quick. I first heard Quick pitch last year at Shop Talk and then again at Plug and Play, which is the accelerator he went through, and I thought this would be a company we would love to have here, so I'm so happy to present Ofer. Please welcome him to the stage.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. My name is Ofer Klein. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Quick, and we enable seamless commerce through IoT. So the on-demand is everywhere, and more companies are now delivering something to someone, and more retailers are trying to fight Amazon and do as good as Amazon is doing. But the user experience is just not good enough. Actually, the statistics are that 90% of app users will not use the app consistently after 30 days. Amazon saw that and launched the Dash button 2 years ago. Now they have more than 200 brands within the platform, one push order, get your products, 75% growth month by month, 2 orders per minute, but Amazon is Amazon, which means they don't let the brands see who the consumers are, what do they do, don't engage with the consumers, you don't have any flexibility on your offering, and by the way, the Echo is going to be the same thing. And the next thing is that Amazon starts to push out very strongly their own private label, which means detergent and wipes and babies' food and diapers and many others, basically keeping the brands out. So the brands want direct relationship with their consumers, and we are the first open version of the entire tools of Amazon for seamless commerce to provide any brand to go through any fulfillment company, delivery, or retailer to the hands of the consumers. And the way we do it, it's not only by providing the IoT button, but we learned that if we don't have the entire infrastructure, they don't have anything to do with it. So we start with the end user, which is one push order. That's the beginning, that's today. And then we have an ecosystem of payment and delivery and going through, it could be 7-Eleven. Right now we're with Lowe's and discussing some of the biggest retailers in the US. And any delivery company basically creating an ecosystem. So the more brands we have, the more retailers is easier to provide more brands, and vice versa. We will have some of the biggest brands in the US. We're live with Tide and Huggies and Budweiser. Press the button, 30 minutes, you have Budweiser in your home in Los Angeles. SodaStream, Eden Water, coffee company, and now it's becoming larger and larger, actually negotiating some of the biggest brands and retailers in the US today. This is how it looks in Lowe's. You buy a laundry machine, the salesperson tells you, Tide is the best thing for your machine, and by the way, this is the best way to reorder Tide again and again. We provide data from top level to how many purchases, average time between orders, up to the level of the user. If he or she is a good user or bad user, how do we engage with them? How do we approach them? All in all, included, they don't have to do anything. But the next level, Jeff, you spoke about automation. So we pretty much automated the button. Instead of for you buying the new laundry machine, this is what we do. So you just tap on it. We added a bunch of sensors and machine learning, and we just know when your laundry machine is working. So now you have 30 pods, 29, 28, 27, time to reorder. So we can either add it automatically to your basket or reorder automatically. So this is something that even Amazon is not doing. There is no other solution like that today in the world. And it's using all of our backend to reorder, but new automated IoT machine. We won first prize by P&G and others in Europe, and now we are starting to push it to market. But it's not only for laundry machine. Coffee, one of our customers, dishwashers, water delivery, SodaStream, Kimberly Professional, one of our customers. Basically for the consumer, I don't need to think about my detergent anymore. I just configure it once, I plug it in, and that's it. I forget about it. I get loyalty points every time I use my dishwasher, for example, and I get, of course, the products to my home. And the next level, for the brands, for the first time they get increased loyalty and increased lifetime value, but for the first time they get real usage data. There's no other solution that knows when we use the laundry machine or coffee or whatever, and then I can be approached in the right time when I'm drinking my espresso, saying, hey, would you like to hear about our next offering? How did you know? Yes, we know, because we just talked to your machine. So this is something that Nielsen is selling by $1 billion a year just by having surveys and asking you, hey, what do you know about your life? So this is automating the usage data, good for the consumer, good for the brands, and good for the agencies and others. The next step is even bigger. We talk to Google Home and to others to interface with any third-party device, any connected device, anything but Amazon. You have to choose your battles. And then to connect our home and to bring it into the e-commerce with our backend. I'll be here and be very happy to talk to you later on. Thank you very much.
Love it. How do you monetize? Like, who's the customer? Who's?
Yeah.
Who
So
are
we
you?
chose first to go to the brands. The bigger pain points is usually within the brands. We sell to P&G. They take us to Lowe's, and then P&G pays for the button, pays either percentage per order or SaaS model depending on what they want from us. They want loyalty, they want support, they want whatever they want. And then this is scalable for both sides.
You anticipate any cyber issues that's been written up?
Oh my God, we went through so many processes with P&G and Kimberly-Clark and those. They tried to hack it, they tried to do so many things. So the good part is you don't have any operating system here. We just wrote it all. It's not connected to the internet, so you cannot do DDoS and all of those awful stuff. And if you break to my home, to my Wi-Fi, so you can order Tide for me. Okay, that's it. It stops it.
You had me at ordering beer through a button.
Yeah. It's live in LA. I can get you a button.
I'm not sure I have a question. I'll just throw it out there and respond the way you want to respond. But as a retailer, I don't want you going to the brands. I want you to come to me, and I want to provide that button to my customers, and then I want to work with the brands to deliver something that's unique and special for that brand in my relationship with the brand. Is that a direction that you're thinking about or working on or have perhaps in discussions?
First, that's exactly the reason we went first to the brands, to piss off the retailers. So now they start, really, to be honest, now they start running faster. We're negotiating, we have Lowe's as a partner. We're negotiating one of the biggest babies brands, babies retailers in the US, one of the top 3. We're negotiating one of the brands, the retailers that you saw here in your presentation, without saying names. So yes, we go that way as well, but only after we got the brands and they say, wow, this is amazing, you have to do it as well, then they start running. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ofer. In between Tel Aviv, Palo Alto, and New York, we're really happy that we could catch him here in Dallas. Next up, I'd like to introduce Shaker Rahman, CEO and co-founder of Birdseye. They went through TIE Scale-Up, and they are from Eastland, New Jersey. Please give it up for Shaker.
Hi there. Can you guys hear me? I was going to ask Quick for a Beam Me Up Scotty button. So when you have that, I'd definitely buy one. But 6 years ago, my daughter, who was in 3rd or 4th grade at that time, came to me with asking for help with a school day invention project. And she wanted to build this little model which would help people find products in a grocery store because, you know, us men, we keep getting lost all the time. So 1 year went by and we thought about this idea, and I said, this would probably be a good business. And so hence the name Birdseye is to give you a bird's eye view of what's happening inside a retail store, specifically a supermarket. Right, so we've of course evolved a lot since then, and what we've today become is a platform that enables retailers to connect with shoppers and deliver relevant savings at the right time and at the right place, whether you're home, on the go, or in the store. So, you know, today you guys probably get things in the mail coming on Sundays, FSIs, your weekly ad flyer. How many of you throw that in the trash? A good majority, right? And you wonder why the retailers continue to do that, right? Because nobody has the time to go through hundreds of offers and figure out which is the right one for you. So what we do is we take that content, personalize it, and give you the 6 offers that you're going to be most likely interested in next week when you go shopping, Okay? So it's a way of curating content but personalizing it. In addition to that, we become a platform for brands and vendors to accurately target the right products to the right shopper. So let's talk about how we do this. Okay, so Birdseye is about smart, personal and seamless engagement. It's a cloud-based system which ingests transaction data from retailers, understand each shopper's profile, their behavior, and their preferences, and then is able to score content and offers and deliver to each shopper exactly what they need or something that may be strategically promoted to a shopper. Right? The platform itself consists of 4 things. Digital touchpoints, so we have white label solutions like mobile apps, web applications, and personalized email service, which are white labeled to the retailer. An in-store engagement platform where we place beacons, we map the entire store out, the map, so you can locate products in the store, sort your shopping list by aisle automatically when you walk into a store. We have an offer management solution where brands, vendors, and retailers can create their own digital coupons, and we automatically target them based on our algorithms to individual shoppers. And lastly, an analytics solution where they can detect new customer trends and create segments and automatically target shoppers to them. So essentially, it's a platform that allows you to follow a customer from home, on the go, into the store, and convert them into drive spending, visits, and loyalty. Okay, so how does this work? So we get shopper purchases and preferences from retailers. This comes as a data feed, so we don't have any direct integration with retail. It's just data feeds. It typically takes about 2 weeks to set up for a retailer. That goes into our cloud-based platform where we're understanding and deciphering each shopper's behavior. Brands and retailers put offers and content into our platform, like a Google Ad Network, where they program and manage their campaigns. We're able to then deliver that content out through multiple touch points, whether it's mobile apps, email, kiosks, what have you, whether it's a chatbot. We're able to touch all touch points. What retailers love about the solution is that it's non-disruptive, minimal integration, easy onboarding. Right? So shoppers on the Birdseye platform, 21% more spending than average customers, 63% increase their spending. They redeem 3 times more offers, average increase of 5.2% in spending, and 33% of them are digitally engaged through our platform of the people who download. Right? So the go-to-market strategy, we are aiming after mid-market retailers. These are 40 to 200 store supermarket chains. There are about 600 of those. And no established players in the target market offering our end-to-end customer engagement platform. Most of them tend to be brand-centric. We are retailer-centric, where we're focused on growing shopper value for the individual retailer. Right, so we're already under contract 250 plus stores. We're live in 231 stores. We process more than 2.5 million weekly transactions from these households. A sales pipeline of well over 1,000 stores, and established some fantastic partnerships with NCR, Quotient, Prologic, and SuperValue. So momentum, last year was a big year for us. We added 200 new stores to our platform. Monthly user registrations went from 6,000 a month to 40,000 a month. We're now tracking over 55,000 a month. Monthly digital coupon clips that get used on our platform went from a few thousand in 2015 to over 100,000. We're now up to about 110,000 a week. Over 300,000 registered users on our mobile apps, and over 1.5 million active loyalty shoppers who use our platform across these retailers. Right? Team with the background in, my background, I'm electrical engineer, algorithms, pattern matching. Gary Hawkins, who's also here, his background in supermarket. He's operated his own store. And a bunch of us who come from financial tech industry who built large enterprise systems. The revenue model is $100 per store per week. That's a subscription model. And then the brands pay for every offer that goes into our system, and our revenue scales as we go through time. Right? So we start with $5,000 per year per store and go up to $55,000. Looking to grow up to 2019, about $46 million in revenue. The technology is applicable across all retail. It doesn't have to be supermarket retail. It's applicable across any place where you need customer engagement. We're in the process of raising a convertible note of $1 million. We have close to half of that already committed. Glad to talk to you guys after this if you're interested. And that's about it. Thank you.
Can you differentiate, there's couponing apps. Can you provide the audience some differentiation?
Absolutely. So we're branded to the retailer, right? So if it's HEB, it's the HEB app that's being powered by Birdseye. So there's pieces of technology. So we have a captive audience, which is the HEB, as opposed to a third-party app like an Ibotta, which is a third-party app. It's not helping the retailer's brand. It's not helping engage and increase customer value for a specific retailer. Those are brand-centric. We are retailer-centric. And as we build a network, what we're hoping to do is get to about 500 to 1,000 stores. We start becoming seen as a single retailer by the brand who can impact shopper and shopper value across these 1,000 stores.
Are the offers dynamically offered?
We are in the process of doing auto budget management, where a brand can give us X amount of dollars. We decide which products get what offer and what customer gets the offer.
Quick one. And then how do I redeem?
So we integrate with loyalty solutions. So we work with an NCR, so the discount comes off at checkout. You load to card, and it's a digital coupon clip.
And strictly a grocery play today?
So far, yes. We do have several initiatives in process where we're widening our funnel into the wellness industry, where we're able to give people strategic offers based on their health and wellness goals. So if you give us your profile and what you're opting into, we can then help you reach your health goals by recommending foods and products which are aligned with your
And do you see yourself, as a company that, can help, a smaller retail, gain these personalization and offer capabilities?
Absolutely. That's exactly where we see, we're excited about that because we help the local manufacturer and vendors work with their retailers and create digital offers which they never could before. So your local honey producer can go and now put in an offer for 50 cents off a new brand of honey and reach the right customer, whereas it was never possible before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaker. Next up, I'd like to introduce John Dubois, CEO of Oculus 360. They are a friend of RevTech and located right here in Addison, Texas. Please welcome John.
All right. Thank you. Is this thing on? Yeah. All right. Well, glad to be here. Thanks. It was a short 4-minute drive for me. Very nice. Here to talk to you today about Oculus 360. We've been in market now for 3 years, been around for 4, had some great traction, and give you a little bit of background. So the genesis of this company was in that there is a gap between brands and consumers, right? And that gap is generally around what is it that consumers are doing ultimately after they buy the product. This is a really strange problem if you think about it, because these are the same companies that are making products to fill those demands, those different needs. Turns out this is a pretty big industry. It's a $45 billion market research worldwide, about $19, $20 billion in the US. And if I just look at focus groups, which is one of the primary means for solving this problem, it's about a $7 billion industry. The goals of market research are generally to answer questions like, can we determine if the existing needs and wants of a consumer are being met and how they're being met? What's my brand's attribution from the consumer perception? How am I differentiated from my competitors? And can we identify unmet need or even latent demand, something that we all didn't know we needed an iPhone until 2007. So these happen to be aligned with some pretty good disciplines across most organizations. So the key here for Oculus and what we do is that we're focused completely on consumer demand. And so what does that mean to us? It means we want to take an observational approach to understand what it is that consumers need and then provide that in a set of insights and data to our brands. So the first thing we do is we collect and we fuse disparate data from social media, from reviews, from forums and blogs, and we're able to associate that to products and to brands. We harness the power of the cloud to burst machines to process this information, and this information is growing. Last I saw in 2020, they're predicting there will be 44 trillion petabytes of data created by humans. So imagine now having the ability to start analyzing even that dark data, that rich data that's being generated by consumers. We've built a set of patent-pending proprietary models that map demand based on 3 key areas. The first is occasions of use. So am I buying something for a date night or for a wedding? Or am I buying something to fulfill some sort of hedonistic need around snacking? What are the product features that fill those needs? So date night, I want it to be something for springtime, and so it needs to be relatively breathable, and I need it to look a certain way, and I have an aesthetic sense of couture versus industrial chic. These are the product features that fit that need. And lastly, what is the perception from the consumer at how well those features met that need? So this model, we roll into what we call demand signals that we can then score product marketing literature, consumer comments, consumer ideas, and then trend how those things are over time. Compare conversations to assortments, for example, is one case. This is all done using AI techniques. We use NLP, where we study syntax and semantics and pragmatics. And ultimately, we provide an actionable dashboard and data stream so that you can understand exactly what you need to do and then feed that to take some action. So introducing our platform, I wanted to go through one use case. And in this use case, we'll talk about using the platform to do some segmentation and then using our data to drive specific business goals based on that segmentation. So in this case, we were working with an auto company, and the first thing we did is identify that you have different types of users that are consuming for different reasons. You have business users that are using their vehicle as part of work. You have that type of user that's a driver that's just going from class to home. You have some that are actually driving for an aesthetic, others for safety, and others for features. What we were able to do is, based on someone looking at a third-party site like Cars.com, knowing that they're looking at a Lexus, we could score our attribute advantages against the Lexus and then present a proper branded marketing ad and take them to a landing page where we then used what we called sequential messaging to capture their attention and lead them to actually printing off something to take to the dealer. The results of this were we had 2 times the online shopper accounts that we had seen before, and we went from, in one of the sales events, we went from 2% from the previous year to 4 to 6% conversion based on all of the segments that we identified. We work with a lot of brands, actually 2 of them are on the stage, and we provide our model in both project-based and subscription-based. We've got a lot of momentum, and I'm looking forward to taking some questions.
All right, so where do you typically, expect to help the brands find more revenue? And is there a specific area your technology lends itself better to, like, say, CPG, something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Actually, our first customer was Neiman Marcus, and so we did do a lot in the retail space, scoring pages and helping with aesthetic themes and other things. In the brand space, we work a lot with agencies, and so we're helping with strategy. We also work with large strategy firms like the BCGs and Bains of the world to help with brand health, brand tracking, and things of that nature. We're also able to take advantage or understand in an industry what are the important features to a consumer, how well does your brand compare to your competitors, and as I'm running campaigns, marketing campaigns, did I affect that perception at all? So it's a nice partnership to have agencies and others that we can work with in that regard. Yeah. All right.
Because there's product features and you're kind of scoring the most attractive product features, I would imagine that a merchandising department, I mean, it's going to affect my buying, right? Something that scores out higher, I may look at that and say, I prefer to buy more of that product to get into my stores, and kind of the beginning of automation for that buying process. Am I capturing that correctly? And then the second thing that I wanted to ask about is, well, okay, we're out of time, but maybe at the reception I'll hit you.
Give me at the reception.
Way too long, sorry.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Next up, I have the pleasure to introduce Mike Mack, CEO and co-founder of Fract. His other co-founder, Katarina, is here too, so be sure to connect with them. Michael Brand connected me with Mike and told me when I was in San Francisco, he's someone I needed to meet, and am I glad I did. We immediately hit it off, and I started thinking he is someone that needed to present. So without further ado, please welcome Mike Mack.
Hi, I'm Mike, the CEO of Fract, a geospatial artificial intelligence platform for improving performance. Target missed the target in Canada, as we may all know. They expanded a few years ago in 2014. Last year, they wrote off $5.4 billion. According to Fortune magazine, the number one reason is location, location, location. But the important takeaway is it's not their fault. This research has always been done by experts. That was me, 10 years in the field, crawling on maps and data in a conference room about half this size. I had successes and some massive failures. The biggest one was a $13 million forecast that I messed up in Boston because I missed a small local competitor. But the takeaway is it's not their fault, or mine. This is the problem. There's too many touch points for people and their tools to understand today. Insights gained in one of these channels don't influence other channels, and the cost can grow into the millions with errors and failures lurking everywhere. And you can see some of the items, brokers saying particular things, internal markets, Buxton's, McKinsey's, CRM's, government data. It's just too much, and it keeps growing. So the solution is an artificial intelligent platform, Fract, that can instantly and simultaneously look for these patterns and come up with expert decisions that talk to specific ROI. In the middle is the engine that we call our fractal loop. The product is a SaaS enterprise platform with an artificial intelligent app for doing field reconnaissance that we call the Recon app. Sample outputs are 10K per month you can increase, or moving your store perhaps to the east to pick up 50K, or potentially even open up 3 stores in Manhattan. And this is the best part of the presentation for me, is some of the success stories. The dollar one is of particular interest because people, when they think about a dollar store, we say things like it's low income, it's cheap product, maybe there's a race component, depends upon what part of the world. But the answer is actually a user story, which is sort of interesting. So I'll do it from a guy's perspective. You're driving home, and all of a sudden it hits you, stuck in traffic, that, oh my God, my kid's birthday's tomorrow, my wife's gonna kill me. And out of the corner of your eye, you see a yellow sign, you see ingress, you see open parking, so you swing in, jump into the dollar store, you lay out $50, you leave the store, egress out, head home, you're a hero. Sales are inversely correlated to the speed of traffic directly in front of the site. The lower the speed, the higher the sales. Sales are correlated to that yellow sign, not the pink, the blue, and the brown, and the beige that they put on the pylon, not the frontage, are directly correlated to sales. Sales are correlated to open parking directly in front of the store. When I say open parking, I don't mean 20 feet away, because when you take it from the perspective of the driver, it's almost a point of purchase display. We have a split second to make this decision. We look down. If we don't see the opening, I got to go back here because I'm going to hit the car in front of me. If I don't see that open, I'm past it. And second one of kind of interest is the first one on the list here is an eyelash extension chain isn't about the number of women. I only have a minute and a half, but you get the idea. So it's about expenditure potential for facials in the last 6 months and body work like massages. So no matter the amount of women you have, you need to understand the underlying metrics that will convert those 1,000 to actual consumers. And that's it. I think it's my last one. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. E-commerce works the same way. This is a really important slide. I wanted to add it because people always confuse that e-commerce makes the world flat. It does not. That's a complete misnomer. This guy's book, follow it up. It's amazing, by David Bell. Okay.
I hate this problem. Will the engine sort of, I mean, how do you look back after the launch of the store to know if you're right or the effectiveness?
So what's nice about the AI is it does, it looks at time, temporal, but it actually does data testing in the act where before you actually need to actually look backwards, it's something that we call reverse forecasting. Let's say you have a little toy box with 10 stores, if you want to talk from a small market area, it's going to remove one and say, well, let's kind of look at what we have going on, and then it's going to forecast for that and say, did I match? If not, it's going to replay. So when it finds what's happening in the market, it has a very high confidence that it can read. So the point is you don't have to wait for the future, which is one of the things about AI that people are always concerned about. Do I have to wait a year to my next store open? It's like, no, you can learn this second, if that answers it.
And the primary purpose is to help me decide where to place new stores, or
Excellent question.
Or can it help me optimize existing
Excellent question. My first thing to any prospects when I talk to them is, are you looking to grow the brand, or are you having trouble figuring out why you're not penetrating one store? And it's both questions. Usually take 7-Eleven, right? They're at 58,000 stores, I think, and they're going to be going to 200,000 by 2020. That's an incredible jump. But their pain is also, well, you know, we're hyper-local. Like, our customers don't come from the neighborhood next door to me. It's the guy who is over here going, you know what, I got to cut a lawn today, so on the way to go cut that lawn, there's a 7-Eleven. I could go to Exxon, 7-Eleven's right here, so I'm going to dive in. So that's does that answer the question? It's very, in that case, they want to know, how do I optimize this store? And is it Pepsi I'm selling versus Coke? And could they get that at Exxon? So it's a two-pronged problem.
I don't have a question.
Okay, perfect.
However, I would like to say geographic information systems and the analytics that you're working on are incredibly powerful. In the airline industry, we used it for to understand in multi-airport service areas, you know, where should our flights be when there was more than one option.
Oh, it's amazing.
Dallas
yeah.
Love Field and DFW. And then the other thing is, when we were looking at the potential for stores, brick and mortar stores, we'd be looking for potential sales, and we would want to look at drive time for, you know, because, you know, GameStops
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was very difficult for us to get that data. In fact, I think real estate basically went out and drove around to try to figure it out, you know. And on that point, is there anything about Fract from a drive time perspective the audience should know about? Are you collecting that data?
Yeah, we actually have two examples. I brought her with me. It's, you humanize these things, right? And so women are smart, so it's a she. We have two examples, and it actually includes that because people, when she's looking for problems and opportunities and causes and effects, and that's one of the things that we understand very well. So it's definitely important. All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Now, we would like to poll the audience and know who your audience favorite is. So that's something we're really interested in. So each team has a designated or a number associated with it, and text your vote to the number at the top. And in the meantime, we're going to turn to our expert judges and hear what they found most interesting and relevant to solving today's problems in retail.
Okay, I'll go first. The fantastic presentations by everybody. I'm sure everyone here would agree with that. A lot of new information, a lot of great ideas. It's clear that these folks are pursuing innovation in retail and delivering to us new potential and new possibilities. I thought everybody did a great job. I was particularly impressed with the Quick presentation. Multiple reasons for that. One is very, very clear in terms of the value proposition of that company in the presentation. Number two is the beer button, of course. And then number three is it's an immediate impact. So a retailer, if they can work with Quick, to then deliver to the brands a kind of a special ordering mechanism, if you will, for their customers, that's going to have an immediate impact, and it's going to be great headline generation, and I think all of that came across. So I would probably say I was most impressed with although everybody did a fantastic job, certainly very impressed with the quick presentation.
I think first and foremost, I would echo that amazing job by everybody. They were fantastic presentations when you're under the spotlight and you're given a few minutes with slides. So congratulations to the presenters. I too, the one that struck me from sort of the maturity and the strength of the offer was also Quick. And Jeff spoke to that eloquently. And so I'll also mention a couple of others. I think, one thing I noted was people had really strong identification of the pain points, the problems they were trying to solve, the things that they were trying to do for consumers or for companies. And, in particular, I think Birdseye is trying to solve, a very difficult issue with consumers because attention spans are fleeting. There are offers sort of flowing out everywhere on any device that you're on. So again, I think any sort of specific real-time tailoring of those type of offers for customers has got a lot of upside potential. I think also Arcade from the network effect, and you get the energy of those people in a store setting like that, I thought also was quite impressive. Thank you.
So in complete agreement, it was a really strong group of presenters. It really wasn't a weak presentation in that bunch, so kudos to everyone on that. As a technology guy, it's going to be really hard for me not to pick the robot. The robot's amazing. I also, was impressed with Banter as well. I mean, those are the types of things we're thinking about today. If I'm going to have to pick one, I'm going to pick Arcade for today, and it's a tough pick. But I do think as we all are looking for ways to, get the customer re-engaged and get foot traffic back in the stores, a lot of times our associate resources are we don't pay enough attention sometimes to that side of the business, and so I really like what Arcade's doing. Yeah.
And now, while you were deliberating up here and telling your favorites, the audience has spoken. And the audience, you all said that you liked Arcade the best. So Dave Cherry, where are you? Come on up. We have something for you. Or is he off selling something? Well, gosh, everybody. Oh, here he comes. Dave Cherry, race to the stage, man. You're the winner. You got some commendation from the judges here, but the audience gave you their vote. We have a lovely plaque for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's get a photo up. Where's the camera? All right.
It's the accent, that's all it is.
And guess what? We're also going to give you a month's free rent with us at RevTech.
Thank you, Dave.
Which is really funny because you already office with us. But hey, that works.
For free.
Yeah, but free rent. Yes, that means something. Also, we want to thank the judges here for their time and effort today, and also the workshop leaders yesterday, which Jeff Donaldson here did double duty. He led a workshop yesterday, but I also want to thank my partner Joel Fontenot in the back that led a capitalization workshop, and then Wade Nicholas, who you're going to hear from in a second, led a sales workshop, and then Mr. Jeff Kentner, who couldn't be here, led a PR workshop, and they were fabulous. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one student through STEM Scouts for each of you in your honor, and you're going to hear all about STEM Scouts now from my good friend, Wade Nicholas. Come on up, Wade.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I got the mic right here. All right, thank you guys. For my friends that know me really well here, seeing me in a lab coat is a very scary thing. I'm normally a sales guy who shouldn't have on a lab coat. But if you know Dave really well, everything that he does he usually weaves in a give back thing with it, right? And so for the past couple of years, he's helped sponsor STEM Scouts. If you're familiar with the Boy Scouts of America, and I'm on the board of the local council of Boy Scouts, serving 65,000 kids, we have come up with this new program. This is our second year, focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you want to continue to see companies like this come to the forefront today, you got to invest in the kids today and get them focused on these types of classes and things. So what you think about, I don't have a clicker, if you could click for me. All right, you got it for me? Great. It's an advanced Think Science Club, but think about it with, a curriculum. Boy Scouts have spent a fortune building out a curriculum, and we start with kids very, very young, and we move them all the way through high school. And there's a lot to see in this. If you click again to the next slide, there we go. You can see the type of companies that are behind us and supporting us. In the first year in a pilot, we had 50 kids. This year we have 500 kids in Dallas. And I can see pretty quickly there'll be 5,000 kids in the program before 2020. I'm pretty confident of that. So today, because I stand between you and the alcohol, I will wrap this up. But there is in the parking lot what we call our Vortex. And a generous businessman here in town gave us $300,000 to build out this mobile lab that we whip around to the schools. And kids get in lab coats like this. This is their uniform. And they do experiments, and they work on things like robotics, chemistry. For little kids, we're making slime. We're doing all that sort of stuff to get kids fired up about science, technology, engineering, and math. And if we could have the next slide, here's how you can help us out. Next slide. Come visit it out there. So evidently, a couple people have gone and visited. We already have 2 people who are interested in volunteers and instructors, and come check it out and mess with the kids. If you have kids and you want this program in your school, we can help make that happen. And what you can really help us out with, because guess what? Like everybody else talked today, we could use some money. And we make it really, really simple. So see the phone number right there? That's Mary Beth Hughes with the Boy Scouts. If you were to text your name and make a pledge, we'll take care of it after that. And I'll match you dollar for dollar for all your pledges. So a lot of people sit and say, I don't want to pledge. You got $25, give us $25. Let's get some kids that can't afford to be in this program excited about things. I got to put a generous cap on top of that, but I'll be very generous. And if you'll do that, we really appreciate it. On your way out tonight, check out the Vortex. It's the coolest thing ever. Thank you for your time.
All right, Wade. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time and attention. Big thanks to you all for supporting this important endeavor that we're doing here with RevTech. Please eat, drink, be merry. Visit each of these teams that presented, has a table out here, and please go see the Vortex too. Have a great day, everybody.